Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode. On this channel, we explore consciousness, we explore sacred prosperity, conscious relationships, and today I am so excited to share this time with Rene Bee. She is a psychic, a clairvoyant, a divination practitioner, and she has helped countless people reconnect with their inner wisdom, understand the spirit world better, and navigate lives with more clarity and higher guidance. So, welcome, Renee. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Kaz. Thank you so much for inviting me and having me here. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And you make me sound absolutely fabulous. I love it. Thank you.
That's because you are. So, I just absolutely love your background. So, tell us, please, when did your journey start? Is this gifts that you were born with, or is it something you developed over time, or was there an awakening moment? Tell us about your journey.
So my journey started as a very young girl. I used to hear voices, but I could never understand the voices. I just always described it to my parents as if you're standing in a room with 100 people all talking at the same time and echoing. So it was like this continuous echo of everybody speaking. So I could hear the voices and I knew it was voices, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. And it was quite overwhelming. It felt very claustrophobic. And I kept going to my parents and saying, I can hear voices, I can hear voices, I can hear voices. They didn't know, they didn't understand. At first, they thought I was just making up stories. And I must have been less than 5. I honestly, I can't remember the exact age, but I was a tiny little tot. And eventually I could see my parents were getting scared every time I told them. Then there was talks about taking me to a person to have demons pulled out of me. So I realized that they were scared of it. I wasn't afraid.
Mhm.
I didn't understand what I was hearing, but I was never afraid. So I stopped telling my parents. I stopped telling everybody that I was hearing voices because of the fear that I could see it was invoking in everybody else. And to be honest, I think with that, it almost like spirit, I don't want to say took it away from me, but protected me, and I wasn't getting the overwhelmed
Mhm.
feeling anymore.
Right.
And then I sort of had a, let's call it a fairly normal upbringing. But as a little girl, still, anytime anybody said to me, what do you want to do when you grow up? My word, and I didn't know where I got this word from, I didn't know what it meant, but I told everybody I wanted to be a gypsy fortune teller. That was my standard answer. Where I got this from. And I mean, when I was a little girl, we didn't have TV. So it's not like I'd seen it in a
Yes.
movie and picked up the words. Um, and again, didn't go down well with my very staunch Afrikaans family that I was being raised by. They didn't like this too much. So I've always been a little bit different, a little bit peculiar. And even going through schooling, I knew stuff about my friends and I would say things about my friends and I would tell them things that they hadn't told anybody. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand. I was just, knowing stuff. And then when I was very young adult, I got married very early because I needed to get away from my home, from my parents. So I married to get out of the house. And I divorced very early as well and had a child in between that. And it was during that period that I sort of went back to, if I can call it, my roots. And that's when I really started delving into things like tarot. But I'll tell you that it took me probably 5 years to actually learn how to read the tarot because there was no YouTube in those days. There was no teachers around.
Yes.
I was living in a little remote town on the north coast of KZN, and I was trying to figure it out on my own. And it was hard. It was really, really difficult. So but I've always been fascinated with all these kind of things. So I was probably in my mid 20s when the penny dropped, when suddenly everything ticked in, and that's where I went off from there.
Mhm.
But so tarot has always been my first love, if I can call it that from a divination point of view. But now, I mean, I read anything. I'm even currently, I don't have them with me here, but I'm even reading, our little checkers minis that we get
Yes.
in our shopping. I'm even using that as a divination tool. And let me tell you, they work amazingly. But my connection to spirit sort of reignited I will say to you, when I was around mid-20s, so about 25, 26, that's when I suddenly realized, hold a second, I had memories of my childhood, memories of hearing voices, and I had to do what most people do and had to build myself back to that point. So I had to go through that process of patience, trust, learning, testing, experiencing, which I think has been such a blessing for me because now I can help other people connect to their own spirituality because I've been there and experienced it. I can't just say, oh, well, I've had it naturally since birth and it's easy.
Mm.
At least I've been through that experience of having to go through the motions because teaching is my first love, my first passion, my first everything. Even when I was in corporate, I was involved in teaching. I was doing adult classes and computer classes and all those kind of things. So sharing knowledge, empowering people, uplifting people is just really who I am. So whether I'm doing that in the corporate sphere, which I don't do anymore at all, thank you, but in the spiritual sphere, it's easy for me to teach because I've been there. I can speak from experience and say, I tried, I battled here, I battled there. But because I've had the experience, I think it does make me an easier, better teacher to share the knowledge and to empower other people to get to where they want to be. Because not everybody is born with the gift open and active. We're all born with the gift, but not open and active. So I was born with it open and active, had it shut down, and then had to reopen and go through that process again. So I
Okay.
think that makes me a little bit unique in that
Yeah, yeah.
aspect.
I love the stories because I think right now with what's happening on our planet, a lot of people are going to resonate with this.
Correct.
Because with this
Yes.
whole mass awakening happening, more and more people are going to start tapping into these gifts and really not understand what's going on with them. And like you said in the beginning, it's like the I hear voices. A couple of years ago, you would get locked up for that.
Absolutely. I still have to be careful who I say that to because
Yeah.
my main superpower, if I can call it that now, are my ears. So I don't see clairvoyantly as well as other people may, but
Right.
to me, my ears are super sensitive. I hear everything and then some.
Okay, so let's talk about the clairs then. So that's clairaudient, right?
Clairaudience, yes,
Yes. So
yes.
clairvoyance is when you see.
Yeah,
And I want
clairvoyance
us
is the
to just
eyes.
I want us to just dive a little bit into the clairvoyance
Mm,
because, I don't want people to think it is exactly the same as seeing a human
yes,
being standing next
yes,
to you. So,
correct.
so what's the
So
difference? The nuance here about that?
So the way that I describe it to my students and to anybody who asks is right now, while you are watching this video, while you are listening to us, try and imagine in your kitchen your favorite coffee cup. In the
Hmm.
cupboard, in the kitchen. You can see it in your mind's eye.
Yes, yes.
That's clairvoyance, seeing
Okay.
things in that space. So you're not going to see a person actually stand in front of you as you can see,
Yeah,
us right now. It's more a case of in your thinking, in your aura space. So I always use coffee cups because we all have our favorite coffee cups and we can all
yes,
visualize our favorite coffee
yeah,
cups, but we don't see it with our actual eyes. We see it
right.
with our third eye. So
Yes,
I always say, imagine seeing your bedroom, visualize your bedroom in your mind. You can
yeah,
see your bedroom in your
yes,
mind. You know what your bed looks like. You know what duvet cover you've got on your bed at the moment, or your lounge, or if you've got children, you can even picture your children's face eating breakfast. And that is your clairvoyance. So for me, with the ears, so imagine now hearing your partner's voice. Imagine hearing your child's voice. Imagine hearing somebody on the phone. So when we have the phone, we generally put the phone to
mm,
our ear. But like again, right now, even though you're listening to my voice, you should still be able to hear your partner's voice, your partner greeting you or, saying, oh, I love you or whatever it is. So again, I hear in that space. I see in that space. And then the perception, which is the clear cognizant, which is the clear
right.
knowing, is just when you just know something. Like I just
Okay.
know something bad is going to happen, or I just know somebody is unwell, or I just know. And that doesn't sit in a place in our body. That just sits everywhere in our body, doesn't it?
Okay, okay, right. I'm
Yes.
I'm very familiar with that one. And what are the other ones? There's one where you sense. Or
So
you can
that's the
pick up the feeling.
claircognizant. So where you pick up, that's where you pick up on, just, you have this knowing, you have this
Yes,
understanding.
yes.
Um, there are,
The
you know what, there
feeling,
are
the
probably, Cass,
sensory,
there are
where you
probably
can,
so many,
yeah,
but they all work in the same way. They all operate in the same way. They just have, as you called it, slight nuances of how they are
right.
different.
Right.
But most people try and develop the clairvoyance. Most people try and develop the clairaudience. And then all of us are claircognizant. I
Okay.
think everybody is.
Yes,
It's
yes,
just,
for sure.
different levels of sensitivity.
Yeah, because sometimes we find there's an inspired idea that just pops
Yes.
out of the blue, and I
Yes.
say I like those out of the blue because
I call
then
them
that's
loud thoughts. I call them loud thoughts. So if you have a loud
yeah,
thought, that
yeah.
is invariably spirit giving you something and wanting you to do something with it, or to acknowledge it, to receive it. And I always say to people, when it comes to developing your abilities, okay, your spiritual gifts,
Mm,
if you think about when we have a newborn baby, newborn babies, when they're first born, can only drink milk, whether it be through the mom, whether it be through a bottle, but they can only handle milk. When they get to a certain age,
mm.
we now need to start teaching them to chew and to swallow and to have different tastes and all the rest of it. So we don't slap a huge big meal in front of the child and say, have at it. We
Mm.
slowly start by thickening the milk, adding a bit of texture, adding a bit of flavor, watching to see how the baby reacts and responds. When the baby starts, gagging and getting all ugly, we know, right, baby doesn't like that, and therefore we don't do that again. So spirit work exactly the same way with us. When spirit are giving us, teaching us, opening us, welcoming us into their realm, they start off by just thickening the thoughts a little bit, thickening the visions a little bit, giving a little bit of texture, and then they wait for us to react. So if you keep getting loud thoughts, and if you keep getting visions, if you keep seeing things in your mind's eye and you don't react, spirit think you're not picking it up, you don't like it, you don't want it, they take it away. You see? So it's when you react and respond, when you go, oh my gosh, that was amazing, then spirit go, okay, she got the message, and then they give you more. And it's a little bit thicker, it's a little bit more textured, it's a little bit more flavorful, until eventually you're eating that huge, big, delicious meal.
Okay.
So when people say, like, oh, but you know what, I meditate every day. But if you're not acknowledging what you're receiving, if you're not practicing gratitude, I am a huge advocate for practicing gratitude. So if you're not practicing gratitude, if you're not acknowledging to spirit what it is that you're receiving from them, how will they know to give you more? Because you're
Mm.
not acknowledging, so therefore they think you're not receiving. So we have to acknowledge. And also, by acknowledging, you are putting yourself in that space of acknowledging to yourself your own progress.
I
And that's
now,
important.
I now have evidence that you're a true psychic because you answered the question before I asked
Before you
it.
asked it.
That was going to be my question. So
Oh, I
that's
love it.
just
I love
amazing.
it. And,
So,
I
so
often say to people as well that I'm just the pipe, I am
yes,
just the pipe. I am just the one that receives and gives. And this is
yeah,
the thing that I try to teach so much with all my students, is that we must never be in a situation where we put our own ego on anything that we receive.
absolutely.
Because when I'm doing a reading for somebody, I'm going to tell them whatever it is that I hear, even if it goes completely against my own belief system or completely against my own moral dynamics or whatever it is, because it's not my message. It's not mine to hold. It's not my situation. It is mine to give. I don't have to understand the message. I don't have to agree with the message, because I'm just the pipe. The pipe doesn't care whether it's water flowing through it or whether it's oily sludge. The pipe doesn't care. The
Yes,
pipe
yes.
does what the pipe does. And that's what I am at the moment. Like, I really, when I do my readings, when I do my interactions with clients, I am literally just the pipe. So yes, that means that sometimes I say things that cause me pain and discomfort, and cause me to be uncomfortable. But
That's
it's
the
not my
message.
message. So
Yeah,
who am I to
yeah.
judge? And that's the hardest part of connecting with spirit and working with spirit. The hardest part is disconnecting yourself from the message itself.
Ah, yes, because we all come with our own conditioning and our own beliefs. So it's like
And our egos,
literally
we've all
moving
got
that
them.
aside. Right. Yes, yes.
Yeah, we've
Um,
all got the egos.
You know what I'm finding recently is a lot of people are using the word stuck. I'm
Yes.
feeling stuck or I'm in this limbo. And I get the sense that our old self is dying, but the new self is not yet born. And we're in this in-between space. How do you see this human evolution happening right now?
So interesting. As soon as you said the word stuck, I immediately heard spirit with stuff. Okay. And
Mhm.
what happens is when people are saying, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, it's not that they're actually stuck, because to be actually stuck means that you can't move. We're all capable of moving. We don't want to. People are afraid of change. People are afraid of what may come up, what may happen, or what may transpire. So they choose to switch off from that. They choose to not engage or not move forward with that. You understand? So we say we're stuck because it's a good excuse as to why they're not progressing. But the truth of the matter is they're afraid, they're fearful of, well, what else is there? And if I step away from where I'm familiar and comfortable, where
Mm.
will I be? Will I be okay? And because they don't have those concrete answers, they tend to just ignore completely. Okay. They tend to just say, I'm not doing it. And therefore, the excuse is, I'm stuck.
Wow.
But the reality is, we may be stuck. We may be standing in one place because of fear, because of whatever reasons. But Spirit will allow us to do that for a long time until eventually they rip that floorboard out from under you and force you to shift and force you to move.
Mm.
And that's when things happen in a scary and difficult way. So we need to make sure that we are constantly trying to step out of the stuckness, because that stuckness is not where we're supposed to be. But I do hear you in saying that we are going through a major evolutionary shift at the moment, and slightly different topic. But look at our children that are being born today.
Yes.
Almost every single child being born today is, and I use air quotes again, different. Okay. Call it neurodivergence, call it whatever. Let's not put labels on things. But this generation that is being born right now is completely different to you and I,
Yeah.
completely different to who we were and who how we grew up. They think differently, they function differently, they behave differently. So us adults, we're struggling because we're trying to hold on to what we know, what is familiar, what is comfortable to us. But the children coming through are completely and utterly different. The children that are coming through have completely, so we're trying to change them to adapt to us. They can't.
Mm.
We need to
Yeah.
adapt to them,
Yeah.
but we're uncertain. Therefore, we are stuck. So it's kind of this huge, big conglomerate of change that needs to happen. But everybody is fearful and nervous and therefore doesn't want to, because rather, you've all heard the saying, rather the devil you know than the devil you don't. So everybody feels like they want to stay in their familiar and their comfortable instead of exploring what else is out there. And
Mm.
that's why we had the pandemic, because that pandemic shifted mindsets in a massive way. So, like, to me, I'm like, bring it on, because we all need to unstuck. We all need to progress. We all need to move in a different direction. We cannot stay standing in the same place any longer.
Mm. Mm.
We can't.
Yeah, yeah. I love that word exploring, where we delve into something like I'm this detective in my own life and I want to figure this out.
Yes,
I feel like very often people get stuck in the busyness of life because they don't
correct.
want to explore. They feel, oh, this is going to be too painful. I can't go there. I can't look at this. So instead, I'd rather be busy. I'd rather binge watch something on Netflix or
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's how we get stuck in all these addictions and things because we don't want to see what is there. So my favorite quotation from Dr. Joe Dispenza is, we can either learn and grow in a state of pain and suffering, or we can learn and grow in a state of joy and inspiration,
Exactly.
right? And I
Isn't
say,
that beautiful?
yeah, why choose the pain and suffering? If you do this
Exactly.
consciously,
Exactly.
it can be
Exactly.
quite a joyful experience, exciting, and you start
Fabulous. Yes.
expanding and coming into your authentic power. It's a beautiful process. Um, so if we look back at 2025, so your clients come to you because they wanting clarity on something, or they're feeling, there's a problem in this area, can't break through. What are some of the themes that you saw coming through in 2025, like the common themes that were coming through?
So a lot of relationship shifts. A lot of people, I mean, one of them in particular, a lady who has been married for 45, 50 years,
Hmm.
deciding she doesn't want to be married to her husband
Hmm.
anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, that was like, wow, you don't hear of that very often.
Hmm.
So a lot of relationship shifts, and most importantly, a lot of people doing a complete 180-degree shift on career. So somebody who's studied and spent 10 years in a particular path, suddenly realizing, what am I doing? I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to be there. It doesn't fulfill me, and actually moving in a completely different direction. So relationships doing a complete shift and careers doing a complete shift. And again, it excites me because if people are starting to admit how miserable they are, how unhappy they are, how stuck they are, suddenly things can start moving and things can start shifting. So it has been not a lot of, like, I know everybody's battling financially at the moment. There's very few people who are financially completely comfortable and okay, but I haven't had too many fears around the money. I haven't had too many concerns around the money. There's an acceptance around the finances, which is interesting. Okay. But a lot of people wanting to make big relationship changes and to make big career changes, which
Oh,
obviously
wow.
will also have an impact on the finances. But
Yes.
prior to that, the fear has been money, 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 money. But at the moment, 2025, it's definitely been relationships and careers.
Oh, that is so exciting. So
Mm.
so let's talk about those two areas, right? So in the area of these big career changes, do you think people are starting to tap into their soul purpose
Yes.
and realize that I can't serve this purpose through this career or where I'm at right now, so I need to make this radical change? Could that be the reason for that?
Absolutely. It's almost like realizing that their souls aren't aligned with the corporate or the institution or the organization that they're working with. And previously they've sort of suppressed their own thoughts and feelings on it, but now they're at their point of like, you can't anymore. So they're needing to acknowledge, they're needing to recognize, and they're needing to make the corrections, the adjustments.
Yeah.
They're needing to be more soul aligned. I love that. Absolutely, yes.
Oh,
And a lot of
that is
people
exciting.
choosing to not be employed by somebody else, but
Yes,
to rather create something for themselves.
yes.
Because why, if you work for somebody else, you earn a little measly salary, but you're making them absolutely stinking rich and ego and all the rest of it. So
Mm.
there's definitely been a big shift in that department. And the other thing that's very interesting with careers is, again, watching our youth who have come out of school or come out of university now and choosing jobs. You know how many children I've had to counsel this year in helping them try and choose something to study after school? Matriculated. So next year I need to go to varsity, but I don't want to do a BCom. I don't want to do a this. I don't want to do a standard typical degree because it doesn't resonate with them. And the youth of today, if it doesn't resonate with them, they're not doing it. And
Yes,
to
I'm
me, I
telling you.
celebrate that. I really and truly
Yeah.
absolutely love that because it means we're getting away from this old dogma of you've got to do what we've done for 40 years because for 40 years it's worked, therefore you must do it. And they're like, no, I'm not conforming to that. I'm not doing that. And that's not just here in South Africa, because I am blessed to consult worldwide.
Mm.
So I do work with people from all over the world, and everybody's in the same situation. So it's not something that's restricted or limited just to us in South Africa.
Yes.
This is a global situation at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic that the children are saying, I don't want to just be a person who does what I'm told and arrives at this time and leaves at
Yeah.
that time. And, you own me during that time. They don't agree with that anymore.
Yes. Oh,
There
I'm
are
loving
some,
that. Yeah. I'm
yeah,
loving that.
there
I
are
think the
some
children
children
are
that are fitting
definitely,
in,
yeah, they're going
but
to be
most
leading the
aren't.
way. And I think they are
Correct.
our greatest teachers. So we need to pay attention to that. So the other area, my favorite topic is relationships, being a relationship coach
There
myself.
we go. Exactly.
So in the area of relationships, so what I'm noticing is the old paradigm doesn't work anymore. right? So
Correct.
that is where we had
Correct.
these specific roles to play, where we come from with all our insecurities and we want to control the other person. And, we see the red flags and ignore it. There's no communication. That whole paradigm is now ending. And I'm seeing the emergence of conscious relationships. So I am very, very excited about the conscious relationships, the union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So that's all the stuff that I teach. So tell me from your perspective, how do you see relationships moving forward?
So it's very interesting because there's, as you talk about the masculine and the feminine, we always have those energies in a relationship. But I definitely feel like it's the roles have swapped and merged and blended. And so to me, we don't specifically have the division of the masculine and the feminine, but it is a togetherness, a oneness. And we just work within strengths, within weaknesses, within likes and dislikes. So it's been very interesting, especially again the younger generation, the more
Mm,
modern relationships. And what I love about it is the open communication. You
yeah.
know, my generation, there wasn't open communication. My generation, there was understanding, acceptance, and do what you're told and do what's expected of you. You weren't allowed to have express an opinion. You weren't allowed to say, actually, I don't like washing dishes. You weren't allowed to do
Yes.
that. You know, it was your duty, it was your job, therefore you performed it. Whereas this younger generation are sort of having conversations with each other and saying, you know what, I don't really like washing dishes, but I don't mind mopping the floor. So we're taking and we're playing with that and we're coming up with a system that works. And each relationship is different. Um, the other thing that I have noticed, which is very interesting, is again with the modern relationships, is how they are very proactive in maintaining the relationship. Whereas again, older relationships, older generational relationships, you never worked on the relationship. You never actually put effort into the relationship. It was never something we did. Maybe on a birthday we would go out. Maybe on an anniversary we would go out, but it was never effort put into each other. And again, modern relationships, that is the number one priority. The dishes can wait. Let's connect. Let's talk. Let's engage. And on positives and on negatives, which to me has just been like eye opener. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. So my favorite saying when it comes to relationships is if you're going to be in a relationship, you might as well make it epic. Right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And you know what's sad though, Cass, is how many people are not in epic relationships.
Yes,
It's heartbreaking.
absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think for me that's like my loudest message, it's for people, don't stay in a place and just, I'm in this limbo and I'm just going to accept the way it is. I watched a little funny video the other day. It was meant to be funny, but somehow, I think it's meant to be heard loud and clear because she said, when in you want to make a marriage last, she said, when you have a problem, you don't talk about it. You don't discuss it.
Exactly.
And she said, our
Exactly.
love language is mute.
Is mute, exactly. I love language is mute, absolutely. And you know
And
what?
I
Isn't
said,
that the truth?
yes,
That so many people live their life that way, cannot
exactly.
communicate, express, whether it's a positive or a negative, because it's not
Yeah,
just the negatives we
yeah.
keep quiet about, it's the positives as well. You know,
Yes.
you don't go to your partner and say, oh my gosh, you look absolutely amazing, or I just love you. We don't do that.
Yeah,
We might go,
yeah,
oh, you look pretty. You know, we
yeah.
don't actually express what it is we need to express. It's very sad.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Well, that's my sole purpose. That's what I'm here for. And I feel like the complacency is what we need to we need to
Shift.
look at, and we need to disrupt this
Yes.
complacency. Um, because there's so much available on every aspect of our lives, whether it's our careers, following that soul path, whether it is our spiritual journey or our relationships. There's so much available for us. So, talking about that, let's dive into 2026. I'm sure
Oh, okay.
everybody wants to know what's coming,
What's coming in
globally. Um,
2026?
yeah,
Yes.
globally and South Africa, on our spiritual journey, awakenings. Let's look at some of those areas and see what's coming.
Right. So what I'm going to do you have specific questions for me though, Cass?
Okay, let's look at things like the economy.
Okay.
Um, let's look at
So what I'm
spiritual
doing is
evolution.
I have got a deck of cards here on the table, and I've just switched on the camera so you can see this is live. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle the cards, setting the intention that we want to know about 2026, and we're going to start off with the economy. Okay, because that was the first one that you asked for. So basically, when I'm shuffling the cards, I'm letting the cards know what my category is, what my subject is, what it is that I want to. And I will tell you as well that shuffling cards for me is also an automatic thing of switching on spirit. So
Okay.
spirit, no, when I pick up the cards, they can go crazy, right? They can go absolutely crazy.
Okay.
So I'm
So,
saying let's
so
look at
shall
the
we say that the cards are your tools, but the
yes,
messages are coming through you from
correct.
spirit, right?
I don't need the cards though. Like I can
Yes,
just receive as well, but I
yes,
love
yes,
cards. So
yeah.
it's pretty. They're pretty pictures. So we're looking at the economy, South African economy,
Yes,
or globally.
let's
What are
do
we doing?
South Africa and then globally.
Okay. So the first card I have, and I'm going to bring it up that way so that you can see it.
Yes,
Okay, so this is, as you can see across the bottom here, it says, if I get my finger in the right place, the Page of Swords. But if you look at the artwork, can you see that he's got like all sorts going on?
yes,
Like there's a bit of storm clouds, there's like he's got books open. He's trying to figure himself out. He's trying to figure out which way is up, which way is down. He's trying to almost, I want to say, intellectualize everything that's happening around him. And isn't that what we're doing? From an economic point of view, looking at our world, looking at South Africa, everybody's trying to intellectualize. Oh, this is happening because of this. This is happening because of that. We're trying to pass the blame. We're trying to intellectualize. We're trying to understand, but we're struggling. We're struggling. We're struggling to understand. We're struggling with comprehension. We're struggling with basic understanding. Okay, because the rules are there but not enforced.
yes,
There's just chaos and mayhem absolutely everywhere. So this Page of Swords is saying in 2026 we will gain the understanding, we will gain the comprehension. Suddenly things will start making more sense. Okay, and when things make more sense to people, people can make better choices and better decisions. So from an economic point of view, we're still in this kind of upheaval, uncertain kind of mode, but there's definitely this trying to sift through all the nonsense to get to that sweet spot of truth and understanding. And only when we hit that sweet spot, only then will we be able to make better choices and better decisions. So to me, this tells me that 2026 might still be a little bit chaotic. 2026 may still be a little bit uncertain. We may still be a little bit up in the air, but we're making progress on sifting through the nonsense to
right,
get to the truth of understanding so that we can make better choices and better decisions.
right. Does that mean that some of the corruption and things going on in our governments is going to come to the light?
100%. And again, I'm looking at the artwork specifically, and the fact that we've got the storm clouds, the
Yes,
fact that he's got this kind of fence behind him, but the fence is falling apart, the fence is breaking, the fence is collapsing. Doesn't that answer us? Absolutely. But I also think this card is telling us that there is so much more than we can even begin to perceive and understand. Okay, corruption and
what's
and
going
chaos
on?
and all the
Yes,
rest of it. But again, we're at a point where people are not just stepping back and saying, oh, well, it is what it is.
yes,
People are now starting to step forward and say, give me the truth, give me the information, give me the understanding, I want all the stories. Don't just tell me, oh, we've sorted it out. I want to know who, what, when, and how. Like what happened? Why did it happen? How did it get this far? And what are we doing about it? This is people demanding answers, looking and saying, I'm not settling for anything less than the total truth. But we're uncertain. We don't actually know. We're still feeling a little bit jittery. Okay, we're still feeling a little bit jittery. We're still feeling a bit unsure, but at least we're making good headway. We're not staying in that stuckness that we were talking about.
yes.
This is people unstucking themselves and demanding truth, demanding answers, demanding clarity around the situation that's currently taking place. Okay,
All right.
next question.
Let's look at our spiritual growth.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so spiritual growth for, and we're just going to call it the collective. Okay,
Yes.
spiritual growth for the collective. We're not going to label that just as South Africa. Spiritual growth for the collective. Let's have a look. Okay, so what do we have this time? Oh, I love that. So, I keep forgetting the camera's this side. So this card we have is the Fool card, okay? So we have this huge big oak tree. Oops, I'm bumping the camera, I apologize. We have this huge big oak tree and a whole nother universe inside of the oak tree. So this
Yes.
purple that you see here is a whole nother universe inside of. So this is the first card in the tarot. This is card 0. This is the card before anything. So this means that spiritually, the world, we are awakening, but what we're awakening into, we cannot even begin to perceive at this stage. It is the unknown that is inside the oak tree. We are the oak tree. We are strong. We are stable. We are secure. We've been standing this way for 100 years, 1,000 years.
Yes.
We have not moved.
Yeah.
So that goes that whole feeling of stuck, isn't it? We
Yes.
have not moved. But when we start breaking open, like our oak tree is doing, when we start breaking open and we start, making people see the truth of who we start revealing what lies inside of us, our spirituality, anything is possible. I want to see if I can show you, oopsie, this way.
Yes.
There we go. I think
Okay.
that
Okay.
might be
Yeah.
clearer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
look at this lady peeping in. So here she's standing at that oak space. She's got a little sprite with her. We've got a little spider there. And she's curious and she's wanting to explore. She's wanting to go into that space. And that's where we are. So everybody is teetering on the edge. Everybody is just on the outside, just curious and wanting to stick their head
Yeah.
in and say, what's going on? What does it look like? Because we can't actually see. We can't actually see. We need to get really in. We need to fully envelop ourselves into this beautiful amethyst gorgeousness in order to really see what's there. So spiritually, we are awakening. What we imagine awakening to look like, post-awakening to look like, what we imagine it to look like versus the reality are going to be so different. So different because there is a world inside a world inside a world, and the potential is just absolutely, you cannot even begin to comprehend. But we as the adults, the living human beings on planet Earth, we haven't evolved quick enough. So it's almost like spiritually, we've had to have some pushes, some nudges, and some kicks up the
Yeah.
butt in order to make things progress and to happen. Hence, pandemic. Hence, the state of the world right now. Because
Yes.
let's be honest, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what country you're in at the moment. There's chaos everywhere. There's drama everywhere. There's uncertainty everywhere. Because sometimes things have to completely collapse and completely dissolve, or what's the word when you decompose, have to completely decompose to put the nutrients back in for good stuff to start growing.
Mhm.
And that's where we're at. So this Fool card is definitely saying spiritually we are stepping, we're on the brink of amazing, awesome, fabulous. Can we imagine what it's going to be like? No. Can we perceive it? Not at all. But it's happening now. It's happening now. She is literally about to step in. We are literally on that verge. So it's going to happen very quickly. And I think it's already is. I think if I had to put it at a percentage scale, I would say probably 40% of the world is already eyes open, already imagining and perceiving different,
Yeah.
already experiencing different and welcoming in the differences. So I think spiritually there's a lot that's happening, but we cannot even begin to fathom what it's going to look like or what it's going to feel like or what it's going
Yeah.
to be at this point.
Yeah, because I think if
Very
we
exciting.
can fathom, then we're coming from the known, whereas
Correct.
here we're stepping into the
Correct.
unknown.
Yes.
And
And when you're coming
zero,
from the known, there's control and then there's ego.
yes,
Because when
yes,
you know what it is, we try and control it, we try and own it, and we can't.
yes, yes. And zero isn't that the number of one with the divine?
It is indeed. It is
Yeah.
indeed. But zero in tarot is more a case of the before. It's the
Okay.
potential, the uncontrolled, the possibilities.
Yes. And I
Yes,
think, if we want to co-create that future, then that's an exciting place to be because it's not
absolutely.
just, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but if we start aligning our own frequencies with peace and
Yes,
love and joy, then that is what that future is going to hold. Or we
exactly.
co-creating it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think you find more and more people are stepping towards that. And I will say, just to like, we don't really want to talk religion, but just to bring religion in very quickly, there is a time and a place for religion. Religion has a purpose, a very strong purpose. And a lot of people are also right now turning to religion for the first time in their lives, embracing, adapting, and even shifting religions. So
Mm.
somebody who was a staunch Catholic has now decided that they want to become Hindu, whatever it is. People are making big shifts because it aligns with their soul. But I want to say that religion no longer limits or restricts an individual. It used to. It used to. But today, even religion is having to adapt. Even religions are having to embrace modern thinking, modern realizations. So, people shifting to religion, we mustn't look at them and go, you're going backwards, because they're not. They are actually stepping forward because religions are not like they used to be. They don't have that kind of structure, defined, solid, hardcore structure like they used to. But it is interesting to see people shifting out of very strong religions and into other religions. That has been quite phenomenal to see as well. How many people are walking away from their lifelong, whatever it is, into something that feels more aligned for them. So, and also, I do think that there's more religions that are coming out of the woodwork, more religions that are now becoming more acceptable
Yes.
and more, just there's a place for it. So it's quite nice that we're not limited to just the main three, if I can call it that. And it is something that is needed. So spiritually, people are looking for a place that has answers without limitations. And I think that's what this card says so well.
Yes.
Answers
Yes.
without
Yes.
limitations.
Yes. I like that.
Yes. Mm,
So let's talk about human potential. And
yes.
now that we shifting from this carbon-based to crystalline bodies, and more strands of DNA are starting to
Emerge.
activate
Yes.
within us. So
Yes.
what is the potential for the human body going forward?
So to me, I like, even before I take a card, I want to say to you that to me, the potential for the human body is actually, I actually feel as if that is one place where we're struggling. I actually feel as if that is one place where things aren't flowing in the way that they should. Because again, our bodies have been around, okay, not our individual bodies, but
Yeah.
collectively, our bodies have been around for eons, okay? And our bodies have always had head, two arms, two legs, and a torso with these particular organs that do these particular functions. But everything is shifting, everything is evolving. Our world is evolving, our emotions, our mental, our spiritual, everything is evolving. But what has not evolved is the physical body. So I find that is probably the big limit. Okay, so this is quite interesting. I want to put it here because it's clearer here. So here we have the Five of Pentacles, and the key words, it says storm swept family. So this particular card, right? This Five of Pentacles, in the tarot community, we call it the poverty card. It's the card of lack. It's the
Mm.
card of not having. It's the card of feeling as if everybody else has and I don't have. Okay? Because it's a storm. They don't have a dwelling. They don't have a home. They don't have a safe place. So when a storm comes, they find any little nook and cranny that they can to hide in just for the storm. And then when the storm's gone, they step out and everything's fine again and they continue living their life. They don't have a fixed abode. So I think for us physically, human beings physically at the moment, we don't know our up from our down. We're trying with medicines and vitamins and
Mm.
chemicals
Yes.
and whatever. We're putting all sorts. We're trying to eat a vegan
Yes.
diet. We're trying to eat a gluten free. We're trying to do all of these things, but actually none of that is working. None of that is correct. All of those things we're doing is based on how the body used to function 50 years ago.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. We're not actually up to date with our bodies. And also, we're spending far too much time comparing ourselves with everybody else. We're spending far too much time looking at our friend and going, oh, you know what? My friend can eat gluten and she's fine. Or my friend can't eat gluten. Or my friend is vegan, therefore I must. So we're spending too much time externally on things that don't matter instead of actually looking at ourselves individually. One thing that is very interesting, even for me, I battle a lot with inflammation in the body. Okay. I always have. I have tried the medicinal route. I have tried listening to the doctors. I have tried taking all their chemicals. I have tried doing all the things. But the one thing, the only thing that actually works for me to keep it under control is water. What is water? It's the thing that the earth makes for us. Mother Earth makes it for us. It's free. It's there. It's in abundance. That is the only thing that works. I'm not saying that's going to work for everybody.
Yeah.
But for me, in my body, I need the pure, the simple. I don't need the complicated.
Yeah.
I don't need the over the top. I don't need that. And I think a lot of people are becoming more sensitive to the chemicals, more sensitive to the genetically modified whatever.
Yeah.
And we just want to go back to basics.
Yes.
We just want to go back to basics. And I think that's what this is saying.
Right. I think it brings us back to that, the word exploring. So it's time to then now start exploring, what does my body like? What does it not like? And rather than just simply following some video that tells you do these steps and then you're going to lose
Correct.
half your weight.
You're going to be fabulous. Yes, yes. Because it
Yeah.
doesn't work. It might work for one or two people temporarily. And this is what this card is, because this poverty card is a temporary situation. Poverty is temporary. Poverty is not lifelong.
Yes, yes.
But we get caught in that temporary. We get caught in that temporary mindset. And then when we fail, we beat ourselves up and we think everything's terrible instead of looking at the long-term situation. So to me, our physical bodies, we're evolving mentally, we're evolving spiritually, we're evolving on every other level, but we're not evolving on the body. Because the things that we're trying, the things that we're adopting, the things that we're doing are old and antiquated. We haven't modernized. We haven't updated the things that the body needs, even the exercise programs. You know, there's a gazillion different exercise programs out there. They all have their positives, but they also all have their negatives. And just because it worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me. We need to turn inward. We need to each look inside and not externally.
Yeah.
We need to find the answers here and not find the answers out there. Because what works for one might not work for the others. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh,
absolutely, yes.
And next year is the year of the fire horse. So
Yes.
That's the year that I was born, in the year of the fire.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're having a return.
So what does 2026 hold in store for us in terms of the fire horse energy?
So it's interesting because, you know, I don't know how often it takes for these symbols to come around. I don't know what the number is. How many, sorry?
60 years.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's every 60 years, all right? So,
it's
you know,
every
we
12 years you'll have the year of the horse, but the fire horse will come in 60 years. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not something that you would experience very often. Fire is the energy of action. Fire is the energy of doing. Fire is the energy that makes us do. Okay. Fire is passion, it's enthusiasm, it's all of those kind of things. And when we've got a horse is majestic, a horse is powerful, a horse is beautiful, it has all of these kind of energies. So to me, when we have the fire horse combination, it's again, it goes back to this energy of like, let's figure out who we are, let's figure out what we're doing, let's get to the basics, let's get to the and let's make the changes. Let's do the things that we need to do. So the year of the, oh, look at that. I can't make this stuff up. I cannot make this stuff up. Look at the horse there in the card. Can you see that?
Yes.
Like, I can't make this stuff up. Okay, there's no fire here. We've got water, but it doesn't matter. So this is, just for those who are interested, the Four of Swords. And look at the keywords. Battle-worn warrior. So yes, he's in the water and we've got the horse there, but water and fire are the opposites, but the one smothers the other, or dissolves the other. They fight against each other. But
Yes.
we cannot function without both. We on this earth, we need both. We need fire. We
Yes.
need water.
Yes.
So to me, this battle worn warrior with the fire horse energy is coming through because we are battle worn. We are tired. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So this is saying that the fire horse is going to come through to bring about change. This, to me, I want to call this ice age. Like everything is stagnant. Everything is still. Everything is stuck. Back to our word stuck. Everything is stuck. So fire horse energy is going to bring that positive enthusiasm change and force us all to start looking at everything differently, to start doing differently from heart space, not from head space.
Yes.
Heart space, not head space. To me, this is like we were trying, but we weren't getting it right because we were keeping everything calm. We were keeping, fire isn't calm. Fire is not calm.
Yes.
And that's what we need. We need that drive. We need that ambition. We need that desire because we're stuck. I mean, look at him stuck in the water. There he is in the water. He's stuck. He's not moving. We don't want to be stuck anymore. So fire horse is coming through to force us to give us the enthusiasm to make the changes that we need to. So I think it's going to be whirlwind. It's going to be quick. It's going to be fast. It's going to be enthusiastic. It's going to be passionate. I will add to that it may even be a little bit scary. It may even be a little bit daunting because we've had this kind of plateau for so long. And now the fire horse comes in and says, let's make change.
Yes.
Let's make change. So I think it's going to be amazing.
Can I tell you what I saw in that card?
Yes, please.
So I teach about the masculine and feminine energies.
Okay.
And right now, for the last few years, we're talking about the rising of the divine feminine.
Yes.
And what we were not talking about was the wounded masculine energy that is dominant on the planet right now. So I'm seeing the man representing the masculine energy being stuck in that water, and the fire, which is coming through,
which is going to clear it,
activate. Yes, clear the wounds, activate, and get the divine masculine to
love
then
that, Kas.
forward.
Love that. Love that.
I love that. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, can't make this stuff up. When all of a sudden there's a horse, and we're talking about horse. Can't make this stuff up. Can't make this stuff up. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Rene, is there any final message that you want to leave for the audience? Anything that I haven't asked you? Anything that's something that you want to share with us?
Let's leave it open. Let's say to spirit, right, what final message? Just again, a little bit of upliftment, a little bit of hope, a little bit of positivity, or a little bit of shock therapy either, because I'm all for the shock therapy as well. So what do we need to know going forward? What is important, relevant, and significant to hear? Because it also doesn't matter when you listen or when you watch this podcast, okay? So whenever you're watching, what is the message that we need? I love this. So before you can even read the text, we've got yin and yang. Okay, can you see that? We've got the yin and the yang. We've got them standing back to back. We just looking at the colors, right? We've got the yin and the yang energy. She's got a bow in her hand and she's got a tree in her hand. So now I'll bring it forward that you can see the actual artwork. But look at the determination on her face. Look at that determination on her face. She's veiled. Okay, this lady here is veiled. You can see she's holding the tree and she's holding a bow and arrow. So they come from very different energies. The one is very fire driven and very focused and very doing and very action. And the other one is veiled and gentle and calm and nurturing and soothing. The card at the keyword, well, the card is the justice card. We all know what the word justice means. Justice means you get what you give. So if you do bad, you get bad. If you do good, you get rewarded with good. Okay, your actions determine the outcomes. That's what justice means. Your actions determine the outcomes. Good actions, good outcomes. Bad actions, bad outcomes. It's as simple as that. And this is, again, the fact that they're standing back to back means that they're prepared to go in different directions. They're acknowledging their differences. They're acknowledging that you're more gentle and I'm more aggressive, or you're more this and I'm more that. They're acknowledging that, and they're prepared to go in different directions. But at the same time, while they stand back to back, they're actually one and the same. Because isn't that who we are? We are one and the same. We all have the head, the body, the arms, the legs, the blood, the organs, the heart, the lungs, all the rest of it. We're the same, but we're all so different. And it doesn't matter what your skin color is. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter what your upbringing is. We are different because every single human being on this planet is unique. Every single human being on this planet has their own needs, wants, and desires, their own likes and dislikes. We are unique. We need to embrace that. We need to stop putting us in packets and labels and boxes and categories. And we need to just accept you and I, we're different. Okay? I look at my own children who share DNA, share all the things. They are different, worlds apart, completely and utterly different. They're both so unique and so fabulous. But we need to embrace that. We need to stop saying, oh, you're from the same family, therefore you should be the same. Why? Why?
Yes.
Why? You know, they may have the same dimple, they may have the same nose, they may have the same ear, but that's the only thing that makes them the same. Everything else about them is so radically different. And that's what this justice card is saying. Like, let's embrace the unique differences within us. It says at the bottom here, the warrior and the veiled one. So we need to recognize each one of us can be both of those at the same time. But if you put effort into developing yourself, improving yourself, growing yourself, you will receive reward for that. But if you stay in your stuckness, if you don't move out of your stuckness, you know, my favorite saying, and it's something I have said all my life, and I say it to my clients almost on a daily basis. If you don't make a change, nothing changes.
Yeah. Or the
If you are
change is
unhappy,
forced on you.
if you are unhappy, if you are miserable in any aspect of your life, do something about it.
Yes.
Because if you don't initiate a change can't happen.
Yes.
So you can't come to me 6 months later and go, oh, my life is still miserable and I'm still unhappy.
Yeah.
It's your own fault. Like, I'm sorry for you, but it's your own fault. If you don't do anything about it, how can anything shift and change? And I think that's what this justice card is saying. There are those people who are not prepared to make a change. Well, guess what? Then you can't complain. Then you're not allowed to moan. But if you want to improve your circumstances, improve your life with any aspect of your life, whether it be your physical body, whether it be your emotional body, whether it be your mental body, your spiritual body, if you want to make a change, if you want to improve, do something about it. And that's what this justice card is telling us. So, final message for all of us: you have the power in your hands to initiate the changes that you want, but it's up to you. Nobody's going to come and do it for you and put it on a silver plate in front of you. Not going to happen. It's time for you to own your truth and to do what is necessary to make the improvements that you deserve. But you have to walk the path. I love that.
That message.
I love that.
Absolutely love that message. Yeah, because it's really about taking back your power and understanding you're the creator of your reality. You're not just here to react to what life is throwing you.
Exactly.
Rene, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for
Oh, no,
spending
thank
this
you.
time
Thank
with
you.
me and our community. We're going to leave your contact details in the show notes. So anybody that feels you're in a place where you need some deeper understanding, you need some higher guidance, you need more clarity, Rene is the person for you to go to. So I will leave her contact details. Get in touch with her, and you can, make an appointment and get that clarity
Thank
that
you.
you're seeking.
Yes. And anybody who's trying to get onto their own spiritual path, I do one-on-one mentoring. So we connect once a week on a call. You don't have to be in my neighborhood for 20 minutes on a call once a week, where I give you a little bit of something that you play with for the week, and it develops and helps you to connect to your own spirit. So it's readings and it's mentoring, whatever it is that you need. Thank you, Kas.
And I think more and more people are going to need the mentoring because, like we said, as people are waking up, then they have these gifts, but I don't really know what to do with this. So that would be an amazing program to be on.
Yeah.
Thank you very, very much,
Thank you.
Rene. And thank you, everybody, for being here on this episode with us today. Please like it, share it with other people that may want this kind of information, and we'll see you in the next episode.